When you're thrilled, when you're in a state of appreciation, when you are having a moment where you feel so deeply in love, when you feel passionate about something, that means that the vibrational frequency within you, caused by the focused thought that you've got going on in that moment, is so in alignment with the vibrational frequency of who you really are that there's no resistance. It's just total allowing of the fullness of you to manifest or be present in this moment. Now, we're using the word manifest deliberately here because we want you to know that in every moment that you are consciously focused, you have the potential of manifesting the fullness of who you are or not. Your emotions truly are manifestations. Manifestations meaning indications, meaning actualizations, meaning manifestations of who you are. How much of you are you allowing to manifest in this conversation that you're having with someone? And when you're angry or frightened, when you are frustrated, you've pinched off enough of the frequency. In other words, your frequency is different enough from the frequency of who you really are that you've pinched off the connection to some degree, and that's why you feel the diminishment of negative emotion. Negative emotion is diminishment. It's your indicator that you're running on lower fuel than you ordinarily could if you were focused in a way that was allowing more of who you are to be present in this moment. We really want you to feel the relationship between what you're thinking right now and what the source within you is thinking. Because the source within you is the dominant part of you, and you can't get too far away from that frequency without feeling the self-inflicted, self-imposed, self-focused distraction or self-focused resistance to the fullness of who you are. And we know you all live for those moments that you call those highs. You live for those moments. You so want to go to a movie that gives you that lift, or find a lover that gives you that lift, or have a moment that gives you that lift. In fact, every single thing that every one of you wants, no matter what it is, whether it's a material object or a state of being or a moment. Esther was really irritated on the airplane for a moment because she watched almost an entire movie before the plane landed. And right at the end, right at the triumphant end, when everything was going to come into alignment and everything was going to work out just the way she had wanted it to through the whole movie, the little screen went up into the ceiling of the airplane, and Esther said, "No! What's wrong with this picture? I want to get to that good thing." And so we want you to realize that everything that you want is because you think you will feel better in the having of it. And that's an emotion that you're having. That's an emotional manifestation. So we think it is accurate to say everything that matters to you is because of the emotional manifestation. And if we can convince you that it's the emotional manifestation that you're going after, then you can be self-empowered in this moment to move yourself into that manifestation even before what you would ordinarily think is your justification for the manifestation of positive emotion has occurred. In other words, you think you want to find your dream house, or you think you need to find financial balance, or you think you need to find the perfect mate, or you think you need to find the improved bodily condition. And you think that once you find it, you will feel better. And we don't disagree that good feeling things are good feeling. Good feeling things feel good. We get that you want good feeling things, but if you are dependent upon something to present itself to you in a way that causes you to feel good, then you are missing the point of deliberate creation, and you are not in control of the relationship between you and you. And that's why we want to point your attention toward what we are calling the manifestation of emotion. We were visiting with a woman one day. If you've been listening to us for a while, you can move your lips as we tell this story, because we know you've heard it again and again. But it is the most important story that we ever tell relative to anything that matters to you. Woman said, "I'm in pain. My body hurts. How can I think positive thoughts when my body hurts?" She makes a good point, doesn't she? You mostly take your body everywhere you go. So how you feel in your body is a big part of your awareness. My body hurts, Abraham. How can I feel positive emotion when my body hurts? And we said, you have to separate the emotion from what you are calling the manifestation of your body. Now, today, if we were speaking to her, we would say, you have to separate the manifestation of emotion from the manifestation of the arthritis in your hip, because the manifestation of emotion is something that you can control right now. You can change it right now. The manifestation of your physical condition will be coming along afterward. But we explained to her that if she is willing to prolong her emotional manifestation of despair, then she's prolonging her manifestation of physical discomfort. We said to her, if you can find the manifestation, we weren't using those words then, the manifestation of hope, the vibrational difference between fear and hope is the difference between recovery or not. It's the difference between recovery. You can't let what is be the reason that you feel the way you feel. You have to decide to feel the way you feel because you intend to feel the way you feel, because you're wise enough to separate the physical reality from the emotional manifestation. And if we can make that point to you, and you can hear it in a way that you are determined to move forward from this day, having control of your emotional manifestation, because you can right here, right now. We're not talking about the big hairy deal of manifesting the car or the empire or the New York Times best-selling book or the most perfect relationship in the world or the magnificent dream body that you're looking for or the recovery from something unwanted physically. We're talking about your ability to manifest the emotion that you're going to get from it after you get that manifestation now. You don't have to wait for the manifestation to show up in order to get the manifestation of emotion, which is the reason you're doing it anyway. That's our point. Did you hear it? So, and will you admit that you want it for the emotional reward anyway? And do you believe that you can get the emotional reward before you get the manifestation that supports it? That really is the big question. Because if you believe that, then you're home free. If you need the manifestation first, to which you will have a positive reaction, now you're slowing it all way down. Now you've got it backwards. Manifestation always follows the vibration. The vibration is about focus. So when you get it, if we can convince you, if we can get you to make a decision, if someone said, what are your goals in life? And you would say, my goal is to feel happy in as many moments as is possible. We would say, now that you've set joy as your goal, you've got it. You've got it all figured out. But if you say, well, my goals are, by the time I'm 30, I want to have achieved this degree, and I want to be at this financial status, and I want to have this kind of relationship, and I want to have 2.5 children by that time. As you make your goals about the manifestations, and you forget about the manifestation that is the real reason that you are setting all of your goals, then you slow everything way down. But if you set emotional goals, if you decide that how you feel is what matters, now everything picks up for you really fast.
Are we really experiencing what's quote unquote out there? And you're talking about
talking about what?
You're talking about vibration, and that we're interpreting vibration. I mean, if it's all
It's interesting that your question's going there, because we wanted to go on to explain that this vortex is a vibration that you're going to translate. And that's the thing that is the most difficult to explain to you who are already translating with your eyes this physical reality that you think is so real.
Is it real, or since it's all occurring in consciousness, what is real, really?
Real is what is perceived.
So it's occurring all in consciousness, all of it. It's not, there's no out there, right? Where is the out there? It's all occurring in my consciousness.
But look at it this way. Do you deny that you share a world with many people who agree about many things? In other words, you have huge scientific data that supports the reality of this physical world in which you are living. And whether it's a translation or vibration or not, and it is, It is a reality. The point that we're wanting to make with you is a little different than where you're reaching, and our point is so much more significant. We're going to go there, and it will help you then to understand the point that you're trying to make. We want you to get it that this world is a reality that has been focused into beingness. There is a stability about it, and it's not just this place where you all just show up while we watch from afar. We're in on this with you. This is the leading edge. People are thinking so often of this being the testing ground, while heaven is the real deal. This is the real deal. This is where all that man calls heaven and God is focused. This is the leading edge of creation. This is it. This is the leading edge of creation. And when you create something, source is in on it, you see. Your body is a creation of source. Everything about you is a creation of source. All of this stuff is a creation of source. And of course it is perceptual, but it doesn't make it any less real. So when we say, so you were source energy before you came into this physical body, you came into this physical body, you go, give us a break, Abraham. How many times do we have to listen through that again? And then we say, here's this vortex of creation, which is a vibrational state of being. And when you pay attention to the way you feel and stop doing that resistant stuff that you do as you're worrying about things, in the absence of that negative vibration, that resistant vibration, the vortex takes you in. And when the vortex takes you in, what happens is you begin then having the revelation that the vortex provides. Revelation. Now, by revelation, we mean revealed. And by revealed, we mean it becomes part of your awareness. It becomes part of your awareness. It becomes part of your reality. So the first revelation that you receive, how's that word feel to you? We're using the word revelation because we're talking about perception and perceiving. We're talking about you translating something into something that means something to you. So the first thing that is revealed to you is an emotional experience. The emotion is the revelation, the manifestation. But if you practice that vibration long enough, so you're hanging around in the vicinity of that good feeling, manifestational emotion, revelation, then the revelation becomes more. It becomes insight. You begin getting thoughts. You begin connecting the dots in your own mind. And then you start forming words, and then you start rendezvousing with other people who have similar understandings and are offering similar words. And then more revelations come, like data starts coming to you through articles, and you rendezvous with television programs. And when you're driving down the freeway, you see something that fits just perfectly with it. And then other manifestations start coming, like people walking into your life and saying things and handing you chunks of money and sending you off on enterprise. In other words, the manifestational experience goes from the emotion all the way into the most magnificent physical stuff that you have around you. But it is all as you perceive it to be. It's your ability to translate it that makes it so. So, what does that mean? That means, look how far consciousness has come, that billions of people are upon a planet having experienced the revelation of this planet spinning in its orbit in perfect proximity to other planets. This is big time creation. And we think that what we're doing here in this conversation is beginning to close the gap a little bit that's been out there between spiritualism and materialism for a very long time. Because here you are in these physical bodies as evidence of the way source is, and yet you want to condemn the materialism of your world. You want to be hard on yourselves for wanting the things when everything that you are experiencing in this physical life experience is a manifestation of that which is source, you say. We've teased for a long time about the substance of this world that you are living in. In other words, this feels and sounds, pretty darn real. In other words, this is real. And to try to say, well, it's just vibration or it's just perception, sort of jerks you into an uncomfortable place. And it should jerk you into an uncomfortable place because you have been translators of vibration long enough that you are translating things into reality. The reason that we're having this sort of animated conversation with you is because we want you to understand that if you can make the emotion the reality that you're reaching for, then all the stuff, all the hardscape, all the software, all the stuff that you want to fill in the details of the life experience that you're reaching for must come to you. You are the creator of your reality, you see. And it was supposed to be really, 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 really fun.